Hello, everybody. It is I, F.W. Waller, and I am here today, joined via Skype by Sly Cooper 88, aka
What's
Steve,
going? Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun on that one. What's going on, everybody?
and Clanders 998.
Hello, everybody. This is my first time, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm gonna enjoy this, I hope.
And James, aka TanakaCon 1985.
Ow, I say, how y'all doing?
And we are here to talk about the Avengers movie. Now, the Avengers, it's a very little sort of sleeper hit movie that's recently hit the theaters, and a lot of not a lot of people have actually seen it, and it's actually being pulled from the theaters, and it's going under the radar and straight to DVD. I'm just messing around here. It's huge.
No, it has arguably become like an international hit. They're saying probably by the time it goes out of theaters, it's gonna make over $600 million.
Yeah,
Like it's like, but however though, this little review or conversation, whatever you want to call it, guys, for those of you that haven't seen this movie, you might want to hit the back button now. So let's take about like 4 or 5 seconds,
yeah.
because we're going to be spoiling a lot of stuff from this movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
this is gonna be very spoiler heavy. So we're gonna give you about 5 seconds to quit watching. One.
Okay, time's up.
No, no, don't say that, James. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now time's up. Okay,
Yeah.
Coulson dies.
I love that you're going to start off with that.
And battle early.
No, but that actually was a very sad scene because this is the guy that connected nearly the majority of take two the majority of the characters within this movie. Thor and Iron Man, and they had a little scene where what was really cool about this is that Coulson actually showed emotion. He was acting like a fanboy. He just would not leave Captain America alone.
Yeah, he was like,
He's like, hey Cap, are you gonna sign my baseball cards? Are you gonna sign my poster? Hey, can I clip one of your pubic hairs off? It's just like, can you leave the man alone, Coulson? He just woke up in the future. He's disoriented. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
yeah, that little spoiler there aside, I don't know, how should we start this off? I guess talking about what the movie's about.
Yeah. It should be pretty obvious for those that have been following the movies.
Well,
For those of you that are obviously watching this, you either A, seen the movie, or B, you just don't give a shit because you're gonna go and see it anyway. But you figure you want to know all the important little tidbits, all the little dirty secrets, if you will.
well, the movie starts out with a shield base that's in like the middle of a desert, and they're experimenting with the cosmic cube, which which they call the Tesseract in this continuity. And then Loki attacks, and he starts tearing shit up, and he starts mind controlling everybody, including Hawkeye and a few other shield agent guys who are trying to.
Also, Eric Selvig guy from Thor.
Yeah, the guy that you see Thor talking to in a bar, like during that one scene in the Thor movie.
But you couldn't get Natalie Portman in the movie. What's up with that?
Well, they did at
Yeah,
least.
she's only mentioned.
Yeah, they did it.
But still,
Yeah, I was kind of
That would've been
expecting
nice.
to see her. Yeah, I was kind of expecting to see her trying to find some way to get Thor back to Earth, because that's pretty much what we thought she wanted at the end of the Thor movie. But oh well.
Well, that's kind of the thing, though, is that the first act is pretty much comprised as just reintroducing all the characters to us. Like they show that scene that's shown in all the trailers where Captain America is just tearing the shit out of his freaking punching bag, and you
I
see.
think what was great was that we see the flashbacks to First Avenger where he's kind of like having nightmares from the war.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we
I
see.
like that put it in there.
Yeah, and we see the scene where we see Black Widow trying to recruit Bruce Banner. We see the scene that introduces Black Widow. And we see, of course, Tony Stark as Iron Man. See, one little complaint here, though, is that Stark is the only character whose supporting characters we actually see, because we see Gwyneth Paltrow come back as Pepper Potts. Now, I'm not trying to say that they're trying to over glorify Iron Man here, but would it have really hurt to just have a physical appearance by some of the other characters, like supporting cast, like maybe see?
It would have been cool to see Rhodey though.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would have been.
yeah, like I
was
think.
kind of hoping he might would have been in the movie and also become an Avenger, but I guess they might say that's a sequel.
Yeah, like I would have liked to see Liv Tyler come back as Betty Ross, for just a small scene.
You know what though? I think what would have been a great scene is during the final battle sequence. They could have got Will Hunt, who played General Ross. It would have made for a great comedic scene if he's in a bar and he's smoking a cigar, and like on the TV you see the Hulk working alongside the Avengers smashing aliens. And how funny would it be if he just has this shocked look and drops his shot glass and his cigar out of his mouth?
Wait, was the Wolverine you were talking about?
No, I was talking about Will Hunt, the guy that played General Ross in the Incredible Hulk movie.
I think
How
you mean
would it have been?
You mean William
TV
Hurt?
during, what?
What Hurt? Yeah, William Hurt.
Yeah, William Hurt.
Oh, it was William Hurt. See, I can
Yeah.
always get actors' names mixed up, but that would have been funny if General Ross's cigar just falls out of his mouth when he sees the Hulk fighting alongside Captain America and all them.
What would have been even more cool and a little bit retarded is if Ross is all drunk and he takes a picture of the Hulk and just colors it red.
Red Hulk hint much?
Yeah, just to subtly hint at the Red Hulk. I don't.
You know what, though? I think what would have been cool is if. I think what also would have been cool is if, we see Doc Samson, also kind of watching.
Did we see Doc Samson in the Hulk in the last Hulk movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, he was the guy that Betty was dating.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I actually would have liked to go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just gonna say that would have been cool to see them, or even it would have been even cool to see Darcy from the Thor movie, of course I'm not saying that we'll see we'll see Darcy, but
yeah, she wasn't really.
No, but I'm just throwing supporting characters out there. It's basically it does feel, but besides Eric Selvig and of course Pepper, those were the only two supporting characters from either character that we really saw.
Well, I guess Joss Whedon actually decided to cut out a scene where we see Steve visiting a really old Peggy Carter. And I'm just wondering, why the hell did he cut that out?
Probably for time constraints. He even admits that he really didn't want to cut it out, though.
There's a possibility we might see it on a extended.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Exactly. We'll probably see it as deleted scenes, so it's not really that bad.
Well, I gotta go back for a second on something Steve was talking about with the Hulk. If you're talking about other characters that could have been cameoed in, could we at least have had the leader or the Abomination cameoed in, on a prison or something like that, or at least learned about what happened to either of those?
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
It would have been cool to see Blonsky in the vault, because in the Incredible Hulk novel, they actually mentioned that he was taken to the vault.
Yeah.
And basically Loki tries to use the cosmic cube. I don't know why I keep calling it that. I just don't really like calling it the Tesseract for some reason. Whatever. That may be just my inner comic book side of me, but anyways, he tries using the cosmic cube to try to create a portal to allow the Chitauri to come in and start invading.
Yeah, can the original do that in the comic books, or is it just in that continuity?
No, the Chitauri are the ultimate comic.
I mean the cube.
Oh yeah, the cube was in the comics.
Yeah, I know, but can it be used to open gateways in the comic books? Or
it can be used to do anything.
Yeah.
It has reality altering powers. It's like taking the Scarlet Witch's mad personality and putting it into a little box and say, okay, I want to be living in the Caribbean, surrounded by bitches and endless supplies of little drinks in martini glasses with a little umbrella. That's the kind of or I want to rule the world. That's the kind of reality altering powers the Cube has.
Yeah, and see Black Widow doing a lap dance.
All right, now let's stay on task here and
Yeah.
not fantasizing about Scarlet Johansson in top leather.
Oh, you had another question.
Yeah, with those awesome curves. Yeah.
But I definitely think going back to that Black Widow interrogation scene that we see in the movie, it was so cool because that was like a nerdgasm all because everybody's like, well, okay, she doesn't have a Russian accent. Are we at least going to hear her speak Russian? Sure enough, in this movie, she does exactly that. She speaks Russian.
Yeah.
Although I thought that the whole thing where she beats all those guys up with the chair was kind of ridiculous, but then again, I just went with it.
It's Black Widow.
I mean,
she's pretty much the female equivalent of Captain America, and Captain America once beat like 8 guys with his hands and feet both tied together.
Yeah. Well, like I said, though, I was perfectly okay with it, even if it was a little ridiculous, because the whole rest of the movie, ridiculous is kind of a moot point.
I mean, come on.
What else is she going to fight with once she's tied up?
I mean, plus this is Josh Whedon, so like, if you've watched Buffy or if you've watched Firefly or stuff, this kind of humor is prevalent in a lot of the stuff, so it's going to make sense, and I don't mind that, actually. It's something that turned the Avengers movie into the perfect family picture.
Yeah, well,
surprised the crap out of me.
Well, I'm sorry.
I love seeing how calm AJ Coulson is when he's talking to Natasha on the phone while she's fighting. He's like, just another day.
Yeah, I pretty love that. She goes, yeah, the city's telling me everything. And I love the Russian general. He's all confused. He goes, idiots? He goes, telling you everything? Wait, what? And the minute I saw that in the theater, I'm like, oh, they're so screwed.
Oh,
they are so screwed.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, but Clanders, did you have like another question to ask me?
So just gonna say, if anyone out there is wondering, I'm kind of rusty when it comes to comic book knowledge, but I do want to get into it, so I'm just trying to get as many answers as possible as I can to know more.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and that actually reminds me of something. That kind of brings me to this one thing that I've been annoyed about, is that, you guys know the film critic Richard Roper, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw this video of his that really pissed me off because he made like his top 10 own favorite Avengers that he saw. Well, his favorite Avengers from least to best. And he talked shit a lot about like Hawkeye, Cap, and Widow. And that just really irritated me because he said that, Black Widow is no different from any like femme fatale in any other action movie like Charlie's Angels or whatnot. Hawkeye sucks just because he uses a bow and arrow, and Captain America sucks because his costume is retarded looking and he uses a garbage can lid for a weapon.
Yeah. Apparently somebody's never read a comic book in their life. Nor apparently do they understand the prevalence of, I don't know, superheroes and spandex and shit.
Exactly.
And while there is a lot of things where I think he's aiming more for like the superhero movie should be realistic, like a la Back to the Dark Knight. Not all the superhero movies need to be realistic in every sense.
Exactly, and this is the movie that is perfect for that.
That's what this movie accomplished. It proved.
There are a lot of things that I understand that you have to bend into realistic proportions for live action movies, but come on, where's the sense that when you go to a movie and you just want to sit back and have some fun and just shut your brain off?
Exactly, you want to watch something fun and fantastical. It's like I mean, come on. I mean, okay, shit. I'm pretty much gonna pull a Tony Stark here, and I'm gonna go through a roll call. Okay, we got a guy who's a super soldier who is literally the peak of human perfection, and pretty much represents everything that was of the red, white, and blue back during World War II. He's a man out of time. Okay, you got a demigod from another world, another universe, who wields a magic hammer that can pretty much manipulate the weather itself and shoots lightning and is damn near indestructible, plus comes back to him. Okay, you pretty much can have a scientist who has a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality, who, when he gets angry or distressed, turns into a giant green monster that is damn near unstoppable, damn near unkillable, and the angrier you make him, the stronger he gets. You got pretty much a sexy Russian redheaded super spy who pretty much can go toe to toe with Cap and is extremely deadly and is probably one and is arguably one of the best hand to hand combatants. Okay, you got another guy who's also a Shield agent, has near superhuman sight, uses a bow and arrow, but uses a barrage of trick arrows, and pretty much almost never misses a shot. Period. Even nailing a guy from 500 or 600 yards. And let's not forget, let us not forget that we got the playboy billionaire inventor who is a wise ass, has like a gyro magnet in his chest to keep shrapnel from piercing his heart. Oh, and he wears pretty much the equivalent of a modern day high tech, like, shall we say, cavalier knight armor that shoots laser beams out of the palms and the chest and pretty much flies around. Yeah, that really is supposed to be serious. Give me a break with that.
This is.
I mean, the only thing serious in this movie is like, because Nick Fury only has one eye. When he really has to turn his head to see everything, he really has to turn his head to see everything.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
You got your realistic point. Now shut up and just enjoy the movie.
Exactly. And you know what? Plus, on top of that, I think what Ebert Roper and a lot of movie reviewers seem to miss with this movie when they're being trolls is the fact that, this is a superhero movie. Emphasis on the super part. They're not meant to be realistic. They are superheroes because they do super things. They do things that are not humanly possible.
And that's why this movie was so great, is because that
you're not gonna see somebody like Captain America jump like 20 feet halfway across a moving platformed carrier in midair like that.
And that's why this movie was so great, is because it showed people that not all comic book films have to be super realistic and, grounded in reality like the Nolan Batman films are.
No.
And, you got to take it back to a simple point, too, even for people who don't usually watch comic book movies. A lot of people are complaining that there are just a lot of dumb movies out there that don't try anything with a lot of explosions and chase scenes and stuff like that. This is one of those movies, but at least it lets you know up front that it was going to be that kind of movie, unlike Transformers.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the movie
it's self-aware.
And plus, and I'm gonna tell you something. If people that don't read comic books, have never read a comic book in their life, go and see this movie and they absolutely love it, as do the comic book fans, as do even the casual comic book fans, just any fan in general or any audience goer, even the general public who don't really like, spandex wearing superheroes all that much. And plus, you also got to remember the demographic that these movies were set in. These movies are set with the demographic of getting anywhere between young to old people. And the great part about Avengers is that literally it is the perfect family summer movie because there's little to almost no swearing, which is pretty much my minor nitpick with this movie. I felt some of the swearing was a little unnecessary or forced. They really didn't, I think, need to use some of the swearing when it was placed in the movie, but that's just a minor nitpick of mine. But it was a fun film in the fact that number one, it's perfect to take little Timmy to go see because. And plus, I think the greatest part for me is that I wanted to see it a second time when I went to go see it, Wednesday, because I went, this Wednesday, and what made it so great for me is that when I went to the second, I didn't get to see it, second time because I would have been, late getting out of the theater. But what I really loved was that I saw two kids actually, two twin boys, and it made me almost cry as a comic book fan because the one kid was dressed like Iron Man, whereas his twin brother was dressed like Captain America, and I'm like, that's the demographic that this movie really was hitting. It was inspiring, the new generation of kids that are going to grow up, reading about these characters, loving these characters, going out in the street. Because that's what we all did when we were kids. When we were reading Spider-Man and stuff, we went around trying to pretend that we were Peter Parker. That's what comic books are supposed to do.
Let me ask you guys this: how was when y'all went to see the movies for the first time? How was your experience with the audience?
I had a flat audience actually.
Yeah, well,
Really?
when I went to see it, the audience was nowhere near as big as I thought it would be. I mean, the theater was decently packed, but to be honest, I thought there were going to be a lot more, but it was their whole reactions to everything that was happening were pretty typical cuz like there's some scenes where that were meant to be funny and they all laughed out loud and uh for me it wasn't anything too special as far as the audience goes, but I walked out of there ready to do jumping jacks cuz I was so pumped and so excited from watching it.
Tell me about it. I walked out of the theater with a very big smile on my face, and it's like it was really great. It was a really great feeling though for me to walk out of that movie, and it's like I had the same feeling that I felt when I watched Thor and Captain America, or when I watched Iron Man 1. It was that great feeling of just saw arguably one of the most kick-ass superhero movies, and rightfully so. And I've made the claim, and it's a very bold claim, but this movie is now pretty much the high pinnacle of what a superhero movie should be.
Absolutely.
This movie, dare I say it, even dare I say it, and some people are probably going to blast me and troll me for this, but the Chris Reeve Superman movies and the Tim Burton Batman movies combined can't really touch this movie. They really can't.
Nah, I'm kidding. You're right.
Literally, no joke. Take two. It's like our buddy, the Mount Vernon kid, had said, this now sets the bar for what superhero movies are going to be now. Every movie's going to try to be like the Avengers now.
Damn straight.
Yeah. Which that kind of makes me wonder about the sequel too, because I'm gonna compare this to when the first time that Iron Man came out. Iron Man was coming on the heels of when they were like 2007, when you had like 3 consistently bad comic book movies come out that year, and then Iron Man was sort of like the sleeper hit that just kind of woke us back up again.
Well, and believe it or not, it seems. Oh, go ahead, Clanders.
One little thing about audience again. The audience, and it wasn't kind of special either, but on the credits roll, everybody laughed.
Really?
Don't you people understand that you're supposed to stay till after credits?
Yeah.
Remember, not all the people are comic book readers, so they ain't gonna know this.
So, like, your audience? So, Clanders, was your audience like just real static and didn't really do anything?
That was nothing special. It is.
Okay,
when the movie's over, like, yeah, let's get out of here. But some guys stood there in the way, and I was trying to watch, and they're like, "Oh, I thought you were trying to watch." I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know if there's anyone behind me because I didn't really look, but me and my family felt kind of alone. So I guess unless someone might have been down at the near the door and watched or something, I don't know. But most people left.
Damn, that sucks.
I'm just thinking, is it only me and my friends that know you're supposed to stay at after credits in these movies, or
most people probably just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, well, I went there with a whole bunch of friends of mine, and I stressed to them, dude, we cannot leave as soon as the movie ends. We have to stay after the credits. But the thing that caught me off guard.
I didn't really have time for a second after credit scene, though.
Yes. Wait, there was a second after credit scene?
Yeah, but it wasn't really nothing special. It was just like the punchline to a joke that Tony made in the movie.
Oh. See, because I was surprised when the Thanos scene came so quickly. I was like, they just showed like the first part of the credits, and then they showed Thanos. I was like, wow, that was quick.
That's better than waiting for like the 10 years of credits we had on the first Iron Man.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Wait,
I love that. Yeah, you're sitting there, you're like in a white beard, you're like, for fuck's sake. No, wait, no.
I passed, I've got a beard down to my feet, and they're like fucking skeletons in the theater with me. Oh my god, now there's Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson.
It's like, oh, Nick Fury. Ooh, the Avengers is being set up. No, and then like you leave, the beard falls off. You drop the tin can.
Well, speaking of Thanos, even though I haven't read that many comics, I have heard in some of Chris' videos what he can do, and I've done a little research, so I'm pretty excited to see what movies can appear and if it's gonna be.
I mean, literally, my jaw just dropped when I saw Thanos. Like, I knew ahead of time, but like, I have like a sucky mobile viewer, so I didn't get a clear picture of what his face looked like. But to see his face on the actual movie screen, oh my God, it looked halfway cartoony, but at the same time, he looked fucking menacing. It looked like it literally looked, like the Thanos that we know in the comics. I looked into his eyes
Yeah,
and I literally saw death.
yeah. I did notice that his face was red instead of purple, but I guess that's just a tiny aesthetic change they felt like making.
Yeah.
I saw
I just
purple.
hope we won't get another crap cloud like from Smallville that I haven't seen, but I've seen pictures of Darkseid.
Oh, no, I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah,
But
let's stay on the topic of the Avengers.
yeah. Although I
Yeah.
will say that
Yeah, that's kind of like what this review is about.
Yeah, I know. It was just a little quick thing. I wasn't gonna get too much into
Oh
it.
no, it's fine, man. I realize what you were saying.
I will say this though, for the Thanos part, even if you don't, or even if we don't have Thanos in the Avengers sequel, just to see him on the screen there at the end is well worth it.
It is. It's definitely good to see that Marvel with each one of these movies and even the projects that they have, that they're really trying to expand their universe.
Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie, but when you saw like the leader of the Chitauri actually talking about, oh damn it, I forgot what it was he said. He was talking about we now approach the courts of death or something like that. He said something about
No. He pretty much tells Thanos, he goes, the humans are unruly and they are not as weak as we were promised. He goes, to mess with them would be to court with death.
yeah, that God, that almost made me crap myself because it's like, yeah, that's Thanos. That's his thing is death.
I have kind of had my own thoughts. So what's gonna be say? What's gonna say? For either they're gonna have Thanos for an event, this sequel, or they're gonna have one of the Guardians of the Galaxy is gonna come out, or they're gonna wait and have the two teams cross over and face Thanos together, which I think would be awesome.
Well, I think what they I think I think that my
I
personal
think it's awesome, even though I don't know very much about the Guardians of the Galaxy, but they seem like a cool group.
well, see, here's what I would do is that I think they should hold off on Thanos for at least a while, but they should still keep hinting at him. I think in the next Avengers movie, you need to bring in Hank, Jan, and T'Challa. You gotta have,
Yeah.
you gotta bring those characters in. You gotta introduce them. If not, they need to make their movies, their respective movies, because then it'll make sense to actually have
But you
them
know what,
show
though?
up.
I thought about something too, because they're thinking about doing a Luke Cage and a Doctor Strange movie, and so on and so forth. And it got me thinking. It's like, I wonder if in this cinematic continuity they would try to get Luke Cage to join the Avengers and like Doctor Strange.
Man, they need to. If they're gonna do that, I really want to see only like the Marvel Studios and Paramount guys doing those movies, because the fact is,
Yeah, I wanted to do that before any other studio's gonna mess it up.
yeah, because well, not only that, but if any other studios does these characters, then that means that we will never see them crossing over with the Avengers. It's a
Oh,
we're never gonna see Spider-Man show up in there. We're never gonna see the X-Men show up in any future Avengers
yeah,
film.
I just want more studios to go around to Sony and say, hey, Sony, give us back the movie rights to Spider-Man, Daredevil, and you Fox, give us back the movie rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four before, because the fans want to see his characters together, so give us back
And while
the rights. We have Disney on our side.
at it, renew the Spectacular Spider-Man for a third season while you're at it too.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But see the rights to that are owned by Sony, by Sony Animation Pictures and such.
Yeah,
So that's not going to really happen.
Why can't Marvel Studios just take back the rights? I mean, they got freaking Disney, which is
Yeah, but see, when they did
not-
that, it was with Sony though, Clanders, and it's owned technically by Sony since they had their animation studio do all the animation for Spectacular Spider-Man. You see what I'm hinting at here?
yeah.
You know that's kind of why I would love to see them do a third season, but they would have to get a different animation studio to like mimic that style, that art style.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Probably.
Whoa. Okay. One thing the biggest complaint I really have, other than the Hulk not speaking, is kind of aimed towards the Chitauri. I was kind of since the Chitauri are supposed to be like the Marvel Universe's version of the ultimate version of the Skrulls. I was kind of expecting them to see them do some shape changing, you know?
Exactly. I was hoping for that too, but I was like, okay, why don't they shapeshift? They shapeshift in the animated Avengers movie.
I'm probably in the very small majority, but I didn't mind the fact that they were just more like, shall we say, medieval alien warriors. I didn't really actually mind that whole deal, because it would have been kind of chaotic if they were just like shape shifting into everything.
Is it just me, or did they kind of have like they were a scary looking version of the Kree?
Yeah, they were very Kree like. It almost made me wonder why they just didn't have the Kree in there instead of the Chitauri.
I mean, like, I don't mind the fact that they combined them up like they did, but and just the thing too with the way that it ended when like the main mothership that we never saw until Tony went through the black hole was destroyed, and then all of them just shut down like that.
Yeah, and
that was like an Avatar moment. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, see, and another big problem is that they never mentioned the Chitauri in any of the previous films. They just decided to bring it up in this one, so it just made their appearance.
Well, they may bring them back and maybe do a little bit more of a backstory, because I have a feeling that was just like a small invasion fleet.
Yeah, and another reason why this movie worked so well is because all the main characters were established before in previous movies. Like we saw Cap in his own movie, we saw Thor in his own movie, we saw the Hulk and Iron Man in their own movies, we saw Hawkeye in the Thor movie, we saw Black Widow and Iron Man 2. So there's not a single character here that wasn't already shown in a previous movie and established.
But the interesting part is that we saw Black Widow in action a little bit, whereas with Hawkeye, he was just more of a cameo. So really, this was kind of the movie that really like made Hawkeye shine, and I kind of felt a little bit bad for Jeremy Renner, because I'm sure that was a lot of pressure on him as an actor to really try to pull this off and make that character convincing. But I will actually give the man credit; he did a really good job as Hawkeye.
Yes.
Yeah.
A tiny nitpick of mine concerning Hawkeye is that even before this movie came out, and even before they started showing trailers, I was pissed off that they were just going to go with a regular bland uniform for Hawkeye. I was just thinking, I would have liked to see them adapt his classic purple outfit from like the 616 universe.
Or at least reference it, like that he used to be in a circus or something.
Yeah, that I would have loved to see that. I would have, because it's like, you got Captain America in his outfit, you got Thor in his armor, and Tony in his, bright red and yellow armor.
And we got Black Widow with her in like, her like cat suit with like the little like actual like widow symbol on the belt buckle.
Yeah, and you got the Hulk in his giant greenness and his purple pants. So my question is, why doesn't Hawkeye have his classic getup?
But
you know what though? But it's kind of one of those funny things where when you see him
in work or something, maybe they take him in purple. But maybe they could have had him like he looks in the 616 universe now.
Yeah, with like jeans or something. But I think what was really interesting about Hawkeye is that they kind of drove more from like his ultimate look, which I kind of was a little iffy about, but it's like, well, the more you look at it, the more it's kind of like, okay, it does kind of grow on you, especially in the final battle.
Yeah, it did grow on me, but there's still a little bitty part of me who was just saying, You know, I'm sure they could have found some way to adapt his classic outfit and, make it look convincing. Isn't that what they did with Batman and what they're actually kind of planning to do with Wolverine? Like they're actually planning to put Hugh Jackman in the actual Wolverine costume?
But you know what though, I will admit the coolest part about Hawkeye, at least for me in the movie, was the actual quiver that he had. I like the fact that they made his quiver high tech.
Yes.
It's like a rotating revolver chamber.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Although, there's one thing I got to nitpick about him though. I hate that he spent the majority of the movie up under Loki's mind control.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you got stuck with the sickle. I was like, geez, man, doesn't that hurt?
Yeah, every time I was kind of like, I mean, come on, change it back soon enough.
I mean,
not to change him back in this scene, change it back now, change it back now. I kind of want the Hawkeye to be his old self again.
I mean, like, I guess whoever wrote the movie was kind of playing around with, there was kind of that point to where he was like the bad guy for a while, and we just sort of half-ass incorporated into the movie.
Yeah, and that I noticed.
Well, you also got to remember, that they were trying to. I think what Joss Whedon and Zach Penn, because they did write the screenplay, I think what they were trying to do was that they were basically showing how dangerous, Clint Barton could be if he were under mind control. Number one, and number two, he took out one of the engines of the helicarrier all by himself. That in itself should show how dangerous he is.
Yeah, and also another thing that I wanted to note is that whenever we finally see Banner Hulk out for the first time, and he's all rabid and he's just destroying shit like a wild animal, and that's because of Loki, tampering with him, because that's what Black Widow sort of figured out. It's like, oh, that's what you're up to. You're trying to turn the Hulk against us. Okay. Hey, Fury. Loki's trying to make Banner angry and, make him Hulk out and kill everybody. I love that scene, by the way. That was great.
What did you guys go ahead, Glenn?
Now, what did you guys think of Mark Ruffalo's performance as Bruce Banner and
I
the Hulk?
thought his performance was amazing. I actually liked it better than Norton's.
I will actually admit, I literally just bashed this guy into the ground over the comment that he made about I would have done a superhero movie until Robert Downey Jr. did Iron Man, and I thought that was probably the most ignorant ass thing to really say as an actor about a movie. I thought that was the biggest fuck up that he made for this movie. But I will admit, though, he redeemed himself a little bit in my eyes because, he did actually do a very good job of portraying Bruce Banner. And what was interesting is that he was a very calm Bruce Banner. When I say calm, he didn't, he didn't really freak out. He didn't really get too fidgety or panicky. He was just more or less, he came across more to me as like Bill Bixby's Hulk. He was more or less the guy that was very calm. He's like, hey, I don't want any trouble, don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. Like, he really portrayed that version of Bruce Banner.
Yeah, and
I was kind of decided to pretend that the Mark Ruffalo was at Norton, just like I pretended that
I do love that scene though when she actually goes to try to recruit him. I love that scene when he goes, what happens if I say no? Then I'll persuade you. What happens if the other guy says no?
So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, James. I just wanted to.
Oh, sorry.
We're all just kind of like talking over each other here.
Yeah, that tends to happen whenever this shit isn't scripted. But anyways, just one last thing I wanted to note is that the scene where Loki causes the Hulk to go berserk, I kind of thought that was maybe the screenwriters just nodding to the first ever comic book appearance of the Avengers, where it was Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, and Wasp fighting the Hulk, who was under Loki's control. I think that may have been just a little bitty homage in that whole action sequence.
It was a little bit. And I also saw quite a bit of, obviously they pulled about maybe 30% of the Ultimates story by Mark Millar in here, and a little bit of Ultimates 2.
Yeah, and a little bit of the classic, very first original '60s Avengers story where they all fought Loki in there too.
Yeah,
that was great to have Loki be like the main adversary for this film.
Yeah, I wanted it to be that way because he was in the first issue, and I'm happy I got my wishes.
Yep.
I will say though, I did, going back to Ruffalo for a second, I did enjoy his performance as Bruce Banner, but I actually did not like the animation that they had for the Hulk once he was transformed in this movie, because it was the same folks that did it for the Ang Lee Hulk. And I still state that, while a lot of people don't like the Ed Norton performance, I still thought the CG Hulk from that movie was better than what I saw in this movie.
Well, like Zipson in one of his videos, he thought that Hulk was like the living thing, and I thought so too, so I like it. But
the thing about the Hulk, though, is that the Hulk is such a difficult character to pull off in live action that no matter what form or design he's given, that if you do him in CG, there's still going to be a lot of people who thinks that he looks fake, because let's face it, there's no real world comparison to compare the Hulk to. I mean, other than like a bodybuilder, but how many bodybuilders do you know whose skin is green? Okay?
That's fair enough. I was just a personal preference of mine.
Well, I mean, no, I wasn't trying to shoot that opinion down. I'm just stating facts here. But I guess one thing though that I wanted to do, this whole review's been not very structured so far, but one thing I just wanted to do here is that I wanted to get everybody in here's sort of own like special complaints and tiny little things that they really liked about it that not a lot of people themselves have pointed out. For me, I really loved the fact that throughout the most of the final battle, most of the characters, kept their helmets on. Like you saw Cap keep his mask on for a good majority of it until like one alien just ripped it off, and you saw Tony speaking quite a bit without them going to that little inside of his helmet view thing. I really liked that a lot, and that's always been a big pet peeve of mine with superhero movies, is that the characters keep throwing their masks or helmets off. It's like they got a secret identity to keep, so why did they keep...
I also do like the fact, and maybe it's just minor, was the fact that Thor actually used his hammer to bash enemies more than just straight throw it at them like he did in Thor. Like I thought that was really cool because, it's cool that he throws the hammer and it's cool that he summons lightning and stuff, but it's like, every time that I've seen Thor in the comics, he's always just straight hit somebody with the hammer, not just throw it at him. So it was kind of nice from the Thor movie to see, Chris Hemsworth actually, I don't know, swing the hammer. Like, he could have easily thrown the hammer, but I like that he sees a car and he smacks the car and he just it's almost like a bowling ball effect. When Cap got shot down, and it's like I like that. I like seeing, and especially seeing him use the hammer to deflect shots too. I thought that was, I thought that was actually also pretty ingenious. But I think the best shot for me, and it was something that you and I were talking about, Ian, was the fact that they did like all those swish cuts where they showed every character doing something.
No, it was like this insanely long steady cam shot. It started out with like Black Widow hijacking this alien like aircraft, and then it just switches to Iron Man, and then he lands on the ground and he starts blasting some aliens along with Cap, who's like doing some like judo taekwondo shit on some aliens, and then Tony just blasts Cap's shield and reflects the blast, killing a whole bunch of aliens. And it's this one huge insanely long shot that shows every single one of the characters showing off all of their special moves and abilities.
But yeah. I think the best part, and plus the comedic parts were always great. I love that. I just love that shot where you actually see the Hulk and Thor fighting back to back, and then they crash into Grand Central Station, and I just love that. It's like the battle's all done. It's like you think that I just love it. You think that Thor, you just see like Thor pat the Hulk on the back. The Hulk just punches him halfway off screen.
I was kind of hoping for a moment where said like good work or something like that, or well done. But
I just love that. I love the fact that they bring in the rivalry between Thor and Hulk. It's like that. It's like that to me was awesome to see, especially when they fought on the helicarrier.
Yeah. One more thing though I wanted to mention is that I really love the fact that every single character got a fair, decent amount of screen time. There wasn't one single character that just hogged all the attention for themselves. Unlike the X-Men movies, which were almost completely Wolverine centered. This movie,
yeah, why not just call them Wolverine?
Actually, believe it or not, apparently my mother had found an article. Some guy went into the theater and he actually took a stopwatch and he timed every character that had screen time. The top 3 characters that had the most screen time in total. And we're talking overall, not just the final battle scene of the movie, but overall, was Captain America, Iron Man, and the Hulk. They were like the top 3 like most showed characters, and we're talking like Bruce Banner, Steve Rogers, and Tony Stark, not just them and their heroic alter egos. And I found that interesting that those were the 3. I expected Tony, but the fact that Cap was number 1 was certainly interesting.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
But then again, he is the leader of the team, and that was actually something that nobody pointed out that I actually liked. The fact that we see, Steve actually take the lead.
But yeah, that's the rest. That's all the little cool points that I have to talk about. Steve, you got any more points of praise to add?
Points of praise that I really do have to kind of add also, I think, and it's something that everybody thought was cheesy, but I kind of like the whole like synthesis of the movie, if you will. I like the fact that we saw pretty much like an evolution from all these movies. We see the characters, and I love the fact that they have that scene where all the characters, they're just like all arguing, they're making fun of each other, they're bad mouthing each other. To then in that final scene, they're all like, they all just pretty much they all click, they all just do their own thing, and it was cool to see every individual character get to do something cool. Like we're seeing Hawkeye shooting guys out of the sky, especially that part where Hawkeye's just like he's like talking to Cap. He's not even looking. He just fires his bow and just like blows up a dill without even looking.
He's that was pretty awesome.
And just little cool moments like that. Natasha taking like that one Chitauri, airship and just like flying around, like blasting, like forcing the pilot to blast stuff. Seeing the Hulk bring down one of those like big giant like techno dragon things. Tony going inside one of the dragons, blowing it up. It's like, every character in that final battle had literally their own epic moment, or like their own epic moments, I should say.
Yeah.
But I think the best praise of that whole entire movie was that shot right after Loki got owned by the Hulk, where he's stumbling to get up, and I said it once and I'll say it again. I cried seeing all the characters just like very and intimidating at Loki, and I just thought
all in one shot.
Yeah, it's like really just that one like steady shot there. It's like that was beautiful. It was a very beautiful shot to see, and I also like how they're all just like in like civilian clothes and stuff, and they all go their separate ways, and I love that monologue by Nick Fury at the end of like all the UN leaders and stuff. And Maria Hill just sits there and says, well, what happens if a threat like this ever comes again? Oh, they'll be back. They'll all come back. Well, how do you know? He goes, because the world will need them, and they'll know that they'll be needed. And I love that. I love that monologue, especially right when Nick Fury's just like looking at like New York and like the little smoke trails and stuff from like the deck of the helicarrier. It's like it's a great moment because it's like you see them not. Pretty much, and that's one thing that I have to definitely praise Joss Whedon about. He took the team pretty much to their lowest point, but then he built them up to their highest point, to the point that it's like, yeah, these guys are now a team. Okay. And I liked that.
Okay.
He did a very good job showing that dynamic.
Okay, well, let's switch over to Clanders. Clanders, all of your points of praise.
Okay, I'm not quite as good at explaining them as Steve, but I'll give it my try. I really love the scene where Cap's giving orders to everybody. He's like, Thor, light him up. Hulk, smash.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
He's just directing them all, because I love that they showed the strategist side to Steve. They didn't just show him as like some guy who knew how to fight real well and could pick up guns and shoot people and stuff.
Yeah. I also really liked the part where he gave orders to our cop. It's like, what should I take orders from you? Aliens coming around. Cap's owning everybody. Ripping one's arm up. Okay. Everybody, you do this and that.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, that was a great scene with the policeman.
Yeah. I also have to say, everybody in the cinema laughed when the Hulk was smashing Loki, and I also laughed. It was just so hilarious.
That was so funny.
Boom, 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 boom.
And it's kind of funny too when Loki's just sitting there and he looks like Wile E. Coyote after he's fallen off the cliff for like the 100th
I know,
time.
right?
I can't believe he just did that to me.
To that was funny. It's like literally, I felt bad for Loki just a little bit because it's like first he got hit with an explosive arrow from Hawkeye, then he just gets dogpiled by the Hulk, and then he's just sitting there. He goes, "You're all beneath me. I'm a god. I will not be bullied by you." And then all of a sudden the Hulk just grabs him and he's like fucking Bam Bam from the Flintstones.
Yeah.
He just starts throwing Loki around like a rag doll.
Yeah. That just made me say, even if you're a god, it doesn't matter, because Hulk can smash you.
And I just love that too, when like the Hulk walked away, he's just like, puny god.
Yeah. I also really love the, in the street with the group shot when the Avengers are, getting back to back.
60 shots we saw trailers.
Yeah. I love that shot. That just shows that now they're ready to work together as a team.
Yeah, that whole shot where it just rotates around every single one of them, and they're just all looking away. They're just ready to cause some trouble.
But I love that part too. I think it adds symbolism, especially from the TV spot. Just, the Chitauri are just like all fighting. This is right when, of course, Tony's like, he's like trying to stop them from the portal. And then, you of course see like, Hawkeye, Cap, and Widow. And they're like coming in like one of the Quinn jets. And I just love that part, of course, it's like, what should we do? It's like, how are we gonna beat him? And I just love Cap, he like switches his shield to like his other arm as a team.
Yeah.
Any
I also
go.
what else was it that I thought of? Trying to think here.
Okay.
Well, I guess I haven't nitpicked, but I kind of want to wait with that till I've talk more about all the moments I liked in the movie. What else? I like the way Loki had his strategy. He is a god of mischief after all, so I like that he planned to get captured, but then Cap suspected that he was up to something.
That was actually pretty cool, and you know what? That plays very true to Loki in the comics as well, and I like the fact that he just pretty much deceived everybody except for Cap, who kind of saw through it a little bit but wasn't sure.
Okay. Well, okay, if that's everything you got, Clanders?
I know you said you had a minute nitpick. What was the nitpick?
Yeah, my nitpick was that there was no Avengers assembled from Steve. But
yeah, like all the big phrases. That was something that I think everybody was disappointed by, like all the comic book fans, because it would have been nice to hear Steve say Avengers assemble, or hear like Thor say to the Icena, or like for Asgard or Midgard or any of that stuff.
Okay, well.
Also, I have a nitpick that. I also have a nitpick that Natasha didn't use her wrist guns. I was hoping to see her use the wrist guns.
Actually, she did use the Widow Stingers. They were just more like tasers, actually.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, like talking the aliens. That was pretty much the Widow Sting.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I just want to say, when I saw that Selvig was being mind-controlled, that was kind of. Okay, I liked him in the Thor movie, but I was just a completely different person, so I guess it was a little heartbreaking in a way. And it was sad seeing Coulson die, but I kind of find it funny when he shot Loki with that big cannon, he's like, oh,
yeah, he's
so
like,
that's what it does.
That's what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing Coulson's last stand, where he just pwns Loki, that was awesome.
Yeah, Agent Coulson, we salute you.
Yep.
Indeed.
Okay, James.
I've got to say that everything that there was about this movie I enjoyed, aside from all the nitpicks to it. But I got to say that something that really stood out to me from the ending was kind of a refreshing take when, when Cap kind of has a sort of a wake up call to him about, you know, why he shouldn't entirely trust his superiors because he puts too much faith in his officers telling him what to do, and then he finds out Nick Fury's duplicity. I thought that was pretty interesting, but then there was a refreshing take that was done in this movie, which is that for all the interpretations in the last few years of the Justice League or the Avengers that I've seen, is that Fury actually has an honest reason for why that he took the Hydra stuff and was trying to develop a weapon with the Tesseract, which is for once saying that, you know, even though the government may look bad, the fact that all this super stuff and aliens and all that's popping up everywhere, they didn't know what to do and they can't control everything, so they had to do what they had to do to control that situation. I thought that was actually kind of an interesting twist from what's getting to be kind of a cliche in these new attempts to try and attract new readers with these reinterpretations that they keep putting out over and over again with these heroes.
You got anything else you want to add?
It's probably one of the best damn superhero movies that I've seen now, and I really think that this one is going to be a tough act to follow after everything's said and done with it.
Okay,
that's it.
Okay, everybody. Now that we've praised this movie, I just want to. Now, what are all the bad things that we can say about this movie? I realize there probably isn't a whole lot, but you know, just complaints in general that everybody has.
Definitely.
I don't think I have anything.
Pretty much most of mine are like minute, of course, minus, the signature catchphrase as cornballish as it is. It's like, that was something that did majorly bother me, because this was the perfect movie to get like all the signature like comic book catchphrases in. I think also for me a big minute nitpick was the swearing. I felt that some of the swearing that was placed in the movie was very forced. I also felt that the characters were badass enough without having to say bastard or bitch or shit or any of that. And that was something that I think kind of bothered me, is when he told Thor, light the bastards up. I'm like, that's not Captain America. I know for a fact that Steve would not swear like that for no reason. Because it's in that moment that literally Steve sounded almost kind of like, Patton in a way. Like as weird a comparison as that is, he kind of sounded like the John Wayne, like Clint Eastwood, like Mongoloid love child that really should not have existed.
Well, at least Cap didn't come off like this psychopath from the Ultimate Universe like you were afraid of.
That is true. That was something that I was very fearful of.
Yeah, but Cap wasn't an asshole.
But even then, to me, while it is very minute and it doesn't really affect the movie that much, I just kind of felt that it was very kind of, shall we say, unnecessary to really put into the movie. But beyond that, no, that's about like the only really minute thing that I can really complain about aside from the catchphrases. Everything else was just damn near picture perfect in my eyes.
Okay, James, you got any complaints?
Well, again, kind of repeating the thing, I wasn't really crazy about the animation that was used on the Hulk in this movie, but that's just a preference thing. I think I've got to go back to Hawkeye on this one, though, because I know while we have a lot of characters competing for screen time in this movie, he was the one that was focused on the list while that he was under control of Loki. There wasn't any character development that we could get from him per se, just aside from what Natasha conveyed to Loki when she was at his cell talking to him. I kind of wish that we would have been able to spend just a little more time with his character and kind of get his background and how he takes on things.
All right. Well, my biggest complaint, personally, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but my biggest complaint is centered around the Hulk and the fact that we've had two Hulk movies come out where the Hulk is just a big dumb monster that has never uttered more than like 5 words. Now I was hoping to see a different Hulk that's actually smart in this movie, but we just didn't really get it. Oh, it
Now
was
that you
this.
mention it, I do hope to hear him speak like in Earth's Mightiest Heroes because I like what to do with the Hulk in that show, but
Yeah, I was
oh
I was hoping to hear the Hulk actually talk and converse with people because I figured by this point Banner would have actually got completely exerted control over the Hulk and would be able to, remain self-aware and, actually talk with people while
yeah.
he's hulked out. But that didn't
Kind of like the
happen.
professor, but unfortunately, that probably didn't quite work out.
I don't see why. I I was perfectly willing to accept actually hearing the Hulk talk to people. I was expecting him and Thor to actually argue back and forth between each other. It's like, where was that? Where's the smart Hulk? I'm just tired of seeing the Hulk as just a big dumb animal. That's not the Hulk.
Hulk smash.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see the Hulk that way anymore. I'm wanting to see the Hulk as an actual character, and I don't want the only stuff where he's actually talking and conversing with people only when he's Banner.
That's
Yeah,
agree with you on that one.
we want to hear him say more than 2 words in the movie.
Exactly. We want to see him say more than just like puny god or Hulk smash or something that's meant to.
You know what I would have loved to have seen personally, and it goes back to the catchphrases thing. I would have loved to have seen a scene where like literally there's a whole group of there's like a massive armada of Centauri, like Cap and Thor and Iron Man are just like they're completely surrounded, and you see the Hulk right there. And I would have loved to have seen it, and it would have been funny to me is if Tony just looks and he goes, "Hey Hulk," he goes, "These guys down here, they said you're a pussy. They said that you're a pussy. They said that they're like stronger than you and blah blah blah. Just like taunting the Hulk and goading him." And it would have been fun as if the Hulk's just like on a building and seemed like snarl. And I just wanted to hear the Hulk say, "Hulk not pussy, Hulk strongest one there is," and then just like fucking crash down on top of all of them.
Yeah. And okay, general thoughts. Everybody. Me, I thought it was pretty freaking spectacular. The best for me, it's the best Marvel movie ever made. And I'm not just talking Marvel Studios. I'm talking out of every single movie based on a Marvel comic ever produced. This is the best one, in my opinion. This is like the pinnacle of movies based on Marvel comic books. I'm sure you guys probably agree with me.
Yes.
This is
Absolutely.
this is like, to me,
100%.
I'm just gonna say that, man, never in my wildest dreams would I ever imagine a movie that is not only a crossover between a bunch of different heroes, but actually has them banding together and actually talking with each other and actually like arguing and fighting together in like a band of brothers type of way. I never imagined that.
It's a superhero team movie, and that's what we got.
But it's not just a superhero team movie, it's a superhero team movie where they actually had these characters before starring in their own self contained practical films where they did their own thing. But this is a movie where they all came from those films and actually interacted with each other.
Yeah. Speaking of which, how about we talk about what we think might happen in the next Marvel movies? Like,
That's actually what I was just gonna get to. Was that
okay.
what should we see in the future?
Yeah.
Me personally, I hope the Guardians of the Galaxy movie gets made. I hope to see an Ant-Man and a Black Panther movie get made too, because they need to add those characters into this universe. Because you can't
I
have.
think I personally think and I personally feel that, and I've stated this to people, my overall general thought and impression on this movie is that as I lovingly describe it, it's like that perfect Christmas. You wake up and everything that you wanted for Christmas, you pretty much got, and that's what this film was. But, and I keep telling people, and some people just look at me like I'm crazy, especially the non-comic book fans and the general public. But you gotta look at the gravity of the situation with Avengers. This is history in the making, not just for cinema, not just for
Absolutely.
Marvel, not just for Marvel, not just for comic books, but this is a piece of history. Never, as you said, Ian, in our wildest dreams, let alone, I still keep saying this. I am in disbelief that in this generation, our generation, my generation, your generation, James's generation, Clanders, and so on and so forth. You know, Mount Vernon Kids, Ziploc, Gory, Deadpoolzilla, all of our friends on YouTube, all of our acquaintances, etc. Never in our generation, our lifetime, would we ever see the X-Men be adapted, Spider-Man be adapted, Green Lantern, all these heroes that grew up, reading about and loving, and then
Well, you guys can.
and then on top of that, Marvel from Iron Man 1 decides that, oh, we're gonna set up the Avengers, and then they just keep building upon it, building upon it. They have the Incredible Hulk, then they have Iron Man 2, which elaborates even more into the Avengers. Then you had Thor, then you had Captain America, and then we have this movie. And pretty much, what can you say? This is just it's historic.
Yep. And Clanders.
Never before have we had a superhero like team ensemble movie like this.
Yeah, Clanders. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, like, what I wonder what we're gonna see in the future. Like, where did the Red Skull end up, and
Yeah.
how are we gonna see Leader and Blonsky? Are they in prison?
Dude, I want to see
clear that up?
the next Captain America movie. We need to see Baron Zemo. Like, no joke. I love the fact that in the Captain America movie there was a whole bunch of flashbacks, because in my opinion that leaves future Captain America movies open to actually, bring in characters from World War II, and you can't say that they just brought those characters out of nowhere, because like during any one of those flashbacks in the first Cap movie, you could say that he fought Zemo or Iron Cross or, Baron Strucker or whatever.
I mean, hell, I would actually love to see, Arnim Zola in like his robot, like plasma screen TV form, actually be a supporting villain.
We'll have to find some way to make that work, though.
Well,
they can make that work.
Yeah, they can. If they made all the stuff in this movie work, I think they can. They have a fair shot at.
But you know what though? At the same time, looking forward to Iron Man 3. I mean, minus Shane Black's idiotic rants about the Mandarin.
Yeah.
If they choose not to go with the Mandarin, since they accomplished all this stuff in this movie, then I want to see Technovore actually be a villain in the third film, or at least Ghost, or Living Laser,
or Crimson
or
Dynamo,
any of the other like more fantastical Iron Man villains,
or Crimson Dynamo, or Titanium Man,
or Firebrand even.
Yeah, but and James, you got what would you like to see for like the future?
I'm gonna have to go back a little bit to the past to discuss. Now that we've got 6 movies from Marvel Studios, I have to say, one, that if we start going back into, like, let's take 4 or 5 movies in between and build up to a new Avengers movie. Let's let Iron Man 2 be the blueprint for these sequels and any other movies that we want to bring in, is that we try not so hard to establish a S.H.I.E.L.D. presence everywhere and just kind of let these characters have their own movies. If we cross over other characters in, that's fine. But, like, let's not try and put out there so much that, hey, we're building up to another Avengers movie, and just kind of let the main character stories be told.
Yeah, I agree. And
also for preference wise, if we do build up to a sequel or something like that, or if we're trying to build up to something, my vote, I'd like to see the Masters of Evil in some way brought into an Avengers sequel.
Yes,
dude,
that'd be nice.
one thing.
There's so many things I want to see for the next Avengers movie, but unfortunately, not everything can be in there.
Yeah,
but you know what though,
guys, we're kind of nearing the end here. So, yeah, for me, if they bring Hank Pym in the next movie, then I want the main bad guy to be Ultron. But okay, we've only got like seconds left. So, okay, anybody, say anything to close this out.
If you haven't been to see this movie yet, I don't know what's wrong with you. Go spend a decent amount of money to see it in 2D, 3D.
Okay, we got cut off there, and James is going to continue what he was saying.
If you haven't seen this movie, or if you've seen it and you don't like it, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I think you're really missing out on fun with this. And if we do see Thor 2, Lena Headey should totally play the Enchantress.
I agree. I agree. We should have Executioner and Enchantress, or at least Surtur, because that would just be epic for Thor 2.
Vinnie Jones is Scourge, the Executioner.
I'm
the Executioner, bitch.
I'm the Executioner, bitch. Yeah, I could totally see him with the goatee and like the bald head and the huge axe. That would be sweet.
Yeah.
And for Captain America 2, if they bring in Baron Zemo, who the hell would play him?
I don't know.
Dude, no, wait. I got the perfect. Christoph Waltz, the guy who played like the evil Nazi, the main Nazi bad guy in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, actually, yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
I think.
Although he would probably only have to provide the voice, since you could show Zemo when he was young, and then show him with like the accident that he has with the adhesive X, and then later on, we could see him as in his sock face form, as Captain America so charmingly put it in that one episode of Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Although sadly, I know that this is a character that they probably wouldn't introduce, but I'm hoping in Cap 2, I would love to see them try to set up, Sam Wilson and maybe Crossbones.
Yeah, they need to. They don't necessarily have to have these characters in their superhero or villainness.
Yeah, just set them up as civilians.
Yeah, just set them up as regular characters, and then in future films, then.
I wonder which movie was he Hydra again.
Yeah, like maybe in a. Dude, not only Hydra, but AIM. Like if in future Iron Man movies, I want to see AIM and maybe MODOK. As much as Steve would hate that.
I think I heard that the deal was going to be 3 Chris Evans.
Can you imagine what it would look like to see fucking Humpty Dumpty in his floating wheelchair in live action? How stupid he could look.
Hey, I got an idea. Just have Jack Black play him. CGI Jack Black's head to where he looks about 6 feet tall, and then superimpose the body with like.
No.
You can't kill the metal, but the metal will live on.
Or just say fucking have Bernard Foyer play him.
No, even better. I would love to see if they actually introduce MODOK in like an Avengers movie, or like he makes a cameo in like Iron Man or like Captain America, and he sees like a picture of MODOK. I just want to hear him look and just go, what kind of creature is this? He goes, it looks like a frost giant's head on an infant's body.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Are we still recording or?
I would actually want to see what the hell happened to Red Skull at the end of Cap, at the first Cap movie.
I was kind of thinking if he might wind up in Asgard, but maybe not.
There's just so many characters that they could really integrate into these other movies.
Dude, no matter what the future brings, I'm excited to see what's in store for the future Marvel movies. Except, of course, if they go with that ultra retarded and contrived idea for the Mandarin and Iron Man 3.
Yeah, that's not really cool.
I mean, if that doesn't work, let's just break new ground and have them hire Robert Englund to come in there as Baron von Strucker, and you can just
yes.
Hydra in there with Iron Man.
Yes, dude. Robert Englund as Strucker? Hell yeah. That would be awesome.
Because of the news, I kind of worried about Iron Man 3, but we'll see how it goes. But you have to go with
for me, honestly, I would just love to see Technovore, because if they're gonna go with Extremis, I can picture a plot deal where, like, the nanites actually like have like an error or something. They try to be weaponized, and then they just combine it into this nanite tech eating creature. And it's like, to me, that would be cool to see Technovore.
Dude.
You could make him almost kind of like the Xenomorphs from Aliens in a way. Like, he could just be stalking Tony.
Well, no matter what, at some point during these Avengers films, they need to have Vision. I don't care how they do it, but Vision needs to be present. Vision is the face of the Avengers.
You know what, though? You know what I would love to see? Especially, I would love to see.
Well, we're getting close to the end here, Steve. We've only got like one more minute. So.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, I think in a future Thor movie they need to establish, Mount Olympus alongside, Asgard, and then maybe try to get Hercules in there for like a future Avengers movie.
Yeah, that's cool.
But anyway, of course, we are getting near the end, and we're just sitting here like we're gonna keep tramping on.
Bottom line, just see the movie. It's great. It's fantastic. It's very much worth seeing. All right, it's very close to the ending for us. So goodbye, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you, guys.